Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about another fundamental of manifesting, one of the most powerful, important fundamentals of manifesting, where when this is understood, you'll have a much greater, better, more accurate understanding as to what you should expect when you manifest. This fundamental is a more scaled back or larger scaled view of everyone is yourself pushed out. I think there's a ton of misconception with this topic. I think that part of it comes from the words used, which I find is one of the most confusing aspects of describing manifestation, because the terminology that we use to describe manifestation is we're using objective, quantifiable words, meaning all vocabulary is used to describe objective reality. Thus, we're coming to manifestation, which is something that may or may not be used on the objective level, may not come from the objective level. And in fact, what I believe and what I've experienced to be true is that it doesn't come from the objective experience. Manifesting doesn't come from the objective experience. It's like a tongue twister. And so therefore these words, when used to describe eternal descriptors or things to be described, they fall short. In fact, it's impossible to describe them properly. And so what I found is that the term everyone is yourself pushed out, or we are all one, or everyone is you pushed out, it can sometimes be confusing. And in fact, I've seen a lot of people confuse the words and then just kind of regurgitate these phrases of how they understood it, whereas that's not been the actual thing behind it. So if you want to, definitely first hit the like button. It does something with the algorithm, which will allow people who would not normally be able to see this video to see this video. And this is very important, this video. So if you'll do that, that's awesome. Also, if you want systematic techniques, methods, methodology, step-by-steps on how to manifest anything, period, anything at all, in a very systematic, predictable way, hit that the bell icon, subscribe, so that you can get more of this. And also there's a workshop being held on the 6th and the 8th, and that is on the a deep dive into constructing imaginal scenes, which is what we need in order to manifest what we want, and also visualization. So if you check that out, there's a promo below. I think the first 20 people who sign up get the promo. So there it is below in the description. So jumping into it now. Everyone is yourself pushed out. What does that mean? What does it mean? Well, what does it not mean? There's an idea that, and I'll tell you, the misconception idea is that everyone is yourself pushed out means that everything in the world is a replication of my finite mind, meaning that I am the only one conscious and aware, and everyone else is a robot or a claymation or some type of cutout of my finite mind. Now, what is a finite mind, right? So these are the kinds of terminologies that we're going to discuss here, which are very important, because if we define them properly and we get to see then through induction or deduction that it's really talking about something very specific that I think has been unclear. So we're talking about everyone is yourself pushed out. We're talking about the finite mind, and the finite mind essentially is our mind, your mind, my mind, the ego mind, the limited mind, the mind of Joseph Alai, the mind of you, yourself. And so that's what the finite mind is. Now, if we have to classify or qualify something as finite, then, well, what's the opposite, or why classify it as finite or limited or analytical mind? Well, there is what is known as consciousness or awareness. So I'm not going to get too extremely deep into this, but the concept is, and this is provable through testing, this isn't just a conspiracy theory, this isn't just something that I think is true, it's something that has been tested, and I've also received mystical experiences about it, and it's something, through deep analysis, you can start to figure out that this is true. There is awareness or consciousness, which is aware of being Joseph Alai, which is aware of being you. So think for a second. If I was to ask you, generally speaking, who are you? Or who am I? The answer normally is like, I'm Joseph Alai, I'm a business owner, I'm a manifester, I am, I have a black t-shirt on, I have green eyes, etc., etc. But the thing about that is that thoughts, like to describe ourselves as our body or our thoughts, that would mean that we are our body or our thoughts. But think of this now. This is where you start to break free from that idea that our mind is ourself, right? Now, again, we're relating this to the concept of everyone is you pushed out. So the misconception is that this finite mind, this personality, Joseph Alai, is pushed out into the world and everything is a replica of me or everything is a copy of me. So we say the finite mind of Joseph Alai pushed out. But we are not our body or our thoughts. So ask yourself this question, right? Think of this, right? So first of all, thoughts evaporate, bodies change. The thought that you had 5 minutes ago is gone. That would mean that pieces of you were coming and going if you were made up of your thoughts. That means pieces of you would be diminished, right? If it came and it went, where did it come from? Where did it go to? It's completely gone. This is the proof right here, though. Ask yourself, are you aware? Am I aware? Ask ourselves that first. Am I aware? Yes, I'm aware. What are you aware of? Whatever, you can name a bunch of different things. But what are you thinking of? Observe your thoughts for a second. Think of what you're thinking of. Probably thinking about me, probably thinking about what I'm talking about, probably saying, what the hell is Joseph talking about? But if you can observe your thoughts, which we do all the time, when we watch our thoughts, when we manifest something, when we imagine something, when we deliberately control our thoughts, that is proof that we are not our thoughts. That is proof that this character type is being observed. Our thoughts are being observed. We can know what we're doing. I know what I'm seeing. I know what I'm hearing. I know what I'm touching, tasting, feeling, imagining. There's an observer of everything in our experience. There's an observer of everything in our experience. And that observer is who we truly are, right? If the thoughts are coming and going, if the body is changing, if the experiences are fleeting, then everything that those are made up of, that's not us. We are the observer right now. That's called the I am. That's called the I am. So if I asked you, are you aware? You would say, I am. If I said, what are you aware of? You would say, I am aware of. If I asked you what you're looking at, you can say, I sense. Sensing is another way of saying that you're aware of seeing something. So all of this is known by something, right? This awareness, which is aware of Joseph Alai's experience, this awareness that's aware of your experience, the awareness that's aware of the tingling in your feet or your hands or the thought that just entered into your mind or the hunger that came and went before. There is a being that is aware of being you, your experience. That is the I am, and that is the God of Scripture. As Neville Goddard says, you can switch out of the state of being poor into being rich. You can switch out of the state of being sad into happiness, hungry into filled, but you can't switch out of the I am. We always are. That's who we are, the I am. And so that I am that's in me is the same I am that is in you. And now here's the thing. That sounds like a jump. That sounds like how does Joseph know that I am that's in Joseph is the same I am that's in me? So here's the thing. And this is where we start to break free from the idea that you are just a replica of me or you're just moving based on my mind. So that mind comes and goes, right? That awareness that's aware of this mind, these thoughts, these feelings, that is what is pushed out. So, and how do I explain this? So this is the interesting part. And I'm going to go through this quickly, but you can stop and rewind this. This is going to be very clear. So everything that we have ever experienced, everything that you're experiencing right now is you were aware of. Meaning, You cannot experience something that you are not aware of. Even if someone tells you about something that you did not experience and that they were aware of, you're still only aware of what you are aware of. So that means that all things exist in your awareness. Think about your vision. This is a good one. We think that there is something outside of our vision, but think about it. Everything that we experience on the external world, comes into our eyes, our ears, our senses, our mouth. But all of that is just known. Like, we cannot ever experience anything that's outside of our awareness. And in fact, no one ever has. The only thing that we can experience is what comes into our knowing, into our awareness. It is and you can do these examples, but try now to step outside of your awareness. You cannot. So what that goes to say is that there only is awareness. There is only awareness. And the awareness that is aware of these lights or this camera here is the same awareness that's aware of my thoughts and feelings and experiences and memories. And so that means that the same material that this camera is made of is the same material that my thoughts are made of, because the awareness is aware of all of this, right? So what it goes to say is that all this entire experience right here is one thing. It's made of one substance called awareness. And that in Scripture is called the God of Scripture. All things exist within God, come from God, and end up in God. All there is awareness. Awareness is another word for God, by the way. And God is another word for I am. So is Jesus Christ. This is all synonymous for the word I am, or awareness. So, okay. Now that I've mentioned this, right? And again, please rewind if you don't understand what I'm talking about the same material, right? Being that all there is awareness. Like we think that there's mind and that there's matter, right? We think that you are separate from me, but all of this only exists inside of my awareness, right? And so this is the concept that Hinduism follows. This is non-dual teachings. There's a lot of teachings that describe this, but it's provable and it's true. What it goes to say is that if the awareness that's inside of me is God, then I would have the same power as God in Scripture. But we don't even have to go to Scripture. We think about it. If all there exists is awareness, and awareness, all of this exists inside awareness, and the only substance is awareness, and we are that awareness that's aware of Joseph Alai, then I would have the same power of awareness. And that means that the same creative power of awareness, I have that. So how do I do that? That would mean that everything that is inside of me, all my thoughts, feelings, moods, attitudes, even all of this, being that it's made up of the one substance called awareness, and awareness is creative, then when I imagine something, I select a scene in my imagination and I hold it there, I'm pushing it into my awareness, and then awareness must create it. It must, because awareness is creative. If what I am is truly the God of Scripture, if I truly am the awareness from which all of this consists inside, then I must then have the same power as awareness, because I must be that awareness. And that's what Scripture tries to prove. That's what a lot of spiritual teachings try to prove. But you can test it. This is where they stop there, though. They say you are that awareness. Like non-dual says you are that awareness. Hinduism says you're that awareness. And that's it. They stop. But you can test it. You can prove it, right? But that's not how we get to everyone as you pushed out, being that we are all separate facets of one awareness. So here's the thing, right? If you put it into story term, the idea is that God, or awareness, is infinite. He's eternal, right? Being that there's only one God, only one eternal God, that means that there's no one else. There's only one thing, one object, one experience called awareness. So the idea is that God then had to become finite or fall asleep to refract out this world. Meaning, when you dream, think of it this way. When you sleep, when you dream, this world completely vanishes and you create your own world in your own mind. And that world that exists, right? Even though you're in this dream, like last night I had a dream I was in a car, I was stuck in the snow. It was so real. There only was the dream. That's all there ever was. And there were other people in the dream. But guess what? I wake up and all of that vanishes. What was so real, those people were real, the snow was real, the car was real, the being stuck, the feelings, that was all real. But falling asleep, going into that was created. That whole world was created. And then as soon as I wake up, it's gone, never existed, right? So that's kind of the story behind how this is created. And so being that with that said, the car in the dream, the snow in the dream, even though I could pick it up and hold the snow, there is no snow. It's all made up of awareness of my dream, right? There's no actual snow. There's only dream. And that is what this is created by. Consists of awareness. And so if in my world, this is the important part now, the fact that the snow is awareness and the thoughts that I had in the dream were awareness, the feelings I had were awareness, the people in my dreams were awareness, being stuck was awareness. It was all the same dream. It was just a dream. And so if then, in this reality, if I am presented with a person and that person is animated, right? So the person is awareness. The animation is awareness. Why then would why would they not have thoughts, right? Why would they be presented with two forms of awareness but not the third? It makes no sense, right? And so that's how you can, on a grander scale, conclude that the people presented in your life, so I am awareness, my body is, from the objective point of view, when we look very close, this body is made of skin, it's made of whatever, all this stuff. But that's from the human point of view. So if we go from the awareness point of view, think of this. I am aware of this camera. And therefore, the camera is made not of plastic and metal and glass. It's made of awareness. So that's the concept of awareness, right? And that's what Neville Goddard talks about with everyone is yourself pushed out, everyone is you pushed out. He's not saying the finite mind, right? And it's not that just because he's saying it, it's true, because you can logically conclude by looking and deducing the way that this world works, the way that awareness works. And when you imagine and you manifest something, the person will conform to not to your thoughts, but we pass them to awareness, and then awareness refracts it out in this whole system that's right here, this whole field of awareness. So summary-wise, the idea is that all of this consists of awareness. Thoughts, feelings, moods, objects, all experience consists of awareness. That's all there ever is. We cannot step outside of our senses to say that there is something other than our awareness. No one ever has, no one ever will. And so with that said, that awareness, that's all of this consists of, we are that. That awareness is what is aware of being Joseph Alai. And so if I'm aware of that, then I can utilize it to create, because the awareness that all this is within is obviously creative, because all of this stuff has been created. So we go from there and we say, okay, thoughts are made of awareness because I'm aware of my thoughts. Sensations are awareness because I am aware of having this sensation. Emotions are awareness because I am aware of having emotions. That person is awareness because I'm aware of perceiving that person. Why then would awareness not put their own thoughts in that person's mind? So they're consisting of awareness as flesh, awareness as animation. Why would they not have awareness of thoughts? It would make absolutely no sense. And so everyone is yourself pushed out means that when we imagine something and we impress something on the subconscious mind, then awareness refracts out. That is how manifestation works. That's what the whole Bible is talking about. That's what Jesus Christ is known as, the human imagination. And so we take that and we say, okay, what do I want? I want a person to act a certain way. Do they have thoughts? We have to assume yes. But all that means, and the only reason I'm convincing you of this, and you could test this, please test this. Don't take my word for it. It's so simply testable. You ask someone, what are they thinking? Or when you manifest something, you ask them why they took those thoughts. They will come from their own level of thought, and they will become the level that you imagine them. So if you right now sitting at your phone or your computer are watching me and you're thinking your own thoughts, if I now imagined you were going to do something, you would, but you wouldn't know that you were the source of it. You wouldn't know that I was the source of it, rather. You would receive impulses from awareness, because that same awareness that's me is the same awareness that's you. There's no separation, right? This whole field is awareness. We are only awareness. And so there's no space between me and you, because it's all one solid substance of awareness. When I imagine something, if I imagine you taking a certain action, whether it be right now or in a month from now, there's going to be a series of events that unfold, but those events are going to be triggered by your impulses, by your feelings. So it's going to take into consideration, awareness takes into consideration who you are right now as a person, and then feeds you impulses so that you begin to take specific actions until finally those actions line up. They keep surmounting until finally you become the person that I've imagined you would become. So it goes, I imagine, I impress the subconscious is connected to awareness. The awareness is connected to you and everyone in the world. Awareness then starts to feed you impulses. Impulses lead to actions. Actions surmount until you finally become the person that I've imagined. So imagine, impulse, impress, impulse goes to you. You take actions and over. And it will be 1 million or 1 billion people will be used to get manifestations done, because the awareness that's in me is the same awareness that's in you. In fact, it's not even in you. It is you, your very self. All of this that we're aware of is awareness. And so that is what everyone is yourself pushed out means. It should help to level expectations to see why people aren't instantly converting into the person that you've imagined, because the premise from which that teaching is taught, which is that you should instantly be changed, is based on a false premise. That premise is basically created by misinterpreting the word mind or yourself pushed out by thinking the finite mind. But when in fact what happens is that the finite mind generates the image, impresses on the subconscious mind a seed of the end desire of the wish fulfilled. That is accepted by awareness, and awareness will refract it out by all means possible, by any means possible, to get you what you want. But it may not be an instant change, because the person has to become another person. Everything has to happen within the confines of this reality. Inside our imagination is the source of truth, the awareness. The awareness is the source of truth. This external world is the world of death. It's the refraction world. It's the growing world, the growth world. And so if we want something instantly, we accept it on the inside, and instantly we have the actual thing. When it's manifested outward, it's actually only the copy of the source of truth, which is the imagination. So I feel like with those simple little modifications of understanding of how this works, it should be able to help you to kind of grasp this in a better way and to kind of get your expectations straight. So test this, put this to the test, start imagining, start manifesting, and then when things come to pass, you ask the person who was involved, why did they take that action? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? Like the other night, I was watching something to help me with my programming languages. And the whole video, they made an analog to a car, to a Lexus. And that next morning I woke up and someone said they had a dream about me. They said this is real, all real. The person that had a dream about me said that they had a dream. I was in a dream and I bought a new car and it was a Lexus. What it goes to show, even though this person is on the other side of the world, literally, whatever is impressed on my subconscious will be refracted out and it will be repeated or expressed back to me. Now, I brought it up because she manifests, so I said to her, I just let her know. We didn't have to get a chance to follow up yet, but it's going to go into her subconscious. She's going to have no idea that it's because I allowed it into my subconscious, that it went into hers, that gave her the impulse to message me. But always there's a root to everything that we do. And so if we can go and ask people why they did this, why did you tell me this? Why did you give me this thing? All leading up to manifestations, we can conclude once and for all that everyone has their own finite version of the massive, infinite, refracted awareness. So just to summarize it, awareness is infinite awareness. It becomes finite by refracting itself through our minds, right? There's one awareness and then all of our finite minds. But the awareness itself, which is what all of this exists within, is creative by nature. right? So we imagine, we're doing this whether we like it or not. We imagine, we impress. My impression will then go to everyone else's subconscious, and that subconscious will guide them through impulses. And then those impulses turn into actions, and the culmination of all of those turn into manifestation. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, definitely subscribe, hit the bell icon, stay tuned for more. Thank you, and imagine.